Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Korua Shapes Transition Finder. This board features Korua's float camber, which is rocker in the nose, camber throughout the board. This is going to give you that load, pop, snap, and drive of traditional camber right underfoot, but you're going to have the ease of entry in and out of turns from that rocker, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is available in 154 and 157. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day. There was low to moderate winds, average temps, you had chopped chunder, hot pow, perfect groomers, a little crust, some ice in the shade, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. The overall flex of this board comes in just past middle of the road. You do have a slightly directional flex to it, so it's a little softer in the nose, especially where that rocker is, and then stiffens up through the camber zone. There's a fair amount of torsional flex. Now, when it comes to the stability of this board, this is a little more damp than the Transition Finder Plus. You notice that it's able to push through chop and chunder with relative ease. You don't feel so much of that kinetic energy coming back up underfoot. It really doesn't want to buck you around. Overall, it's damp where it counts, but it just does not feel dead. So you do have to load the camber zone up on this board, but it's relatively easy to engage, and it rebounds with just the right amount of pop to launch you off cat tracks, side hit gaps, over skiers, shit like that. You don't really have to worry about it. It does what you need it to do. Is it the snappiest board? No. Is it gonna pop? Yes. Now when it comes to jumps, this is where this board is really at home. It wants to just launch off the transition. It wants to pop off the lip. So if you're hitting hips, half pipe, or just a giant jump, you don't have to worry about small, medium, large, extra large. It handles them all with relative ease. This is a board that if you're laid back, you can let the lip throw you, or if you pop, you're gonna get a little more spring out of your step with it and go a little bit higher and further. So with having that offset cam rocker, you got this platform on the nose to butter on. It takes a little more effort. You just got to hit that flex point, leverage your weight on the outside, and really engage it. You'll notice that once you figure out what you've got to do, it's not that hard to butter on it. The tail's a little stiffer and a little smaller, so you're doing more high-speed wheelies or just sitting on it when you go sideways. Now when it comes to jibbing, you're going to put your weight out on that nose. It's going to lock into nose presses, it's going to hold, and it's going to snap out of it. The tail takes more effort. You just got less to work with there, and it really does kind of fight you, so be aware of that. When you get sideways on the feature, the camber profile hugs around it, and it slides perfectly. This board is totally fine if you know what you're doing to jib. If you don't, or if you want something that's soft and sloppy, you probably want to look somewhere else. So here's where this board stands out. It engages off the front foot, but you really drive it from inside the direct middle of the board, right in the camber, back through the tail. It's one of those boards that when it sets on edge, you're locked in, but then when you give it a little push to the middle, you're apexing that carve, you're swooping around whatever's in your way or just leaving a trench. It's quick and nimble, edge to edge. You don't have to worry about short, tight, quick carves, long, hard, drawn out carves. It's great. It's one of those boards that when you're on edge and you're just sailing down the hill, you never really have to worry about it, but something gets in your way, you can just manipulate that carve, change your angle of it with just a little ankle movement. Who's this board for? The freestyle focused carver. So I do like this board more than the Transition Finder Plus. It's a little more damp, which makes it easier on the knees. The big thing to note compared to the old Tranny Finder to the Transition Finder is they actually made it a little narrower, so it's a little more nimble edge to edge. Most people probably won't notice this unless they've spent some serious time on the Tranny Finder, but it does make sense to make it a little more nimble in there. It's easier to set that edge. It's great for having that quick initiation. If you're riding a half pipe or you're coming into a quarter pipe, you got to set up. This board does pop off the lip. It's just a fun board with a directional shape that not everyone's going to have. So if you're looking for something different, you're a freestyle focused rider that does like carving, you should be looking at this. Comparable boards: the Academy Chris Roach Masters, the Jones Stratus, the Rome Ravine. Binding recommendations: the Rome Katana, the Now Select Pro, the K2 Lean AT. This has been my review of the Korua Shapes Transition Finder. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not going to miss any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.